G'day listeners, welcome to Barkarati, the Sailing Podcast. My name's Jordan Spencer and it's that time of the week where we get to hang out with some really cool sailors, but unfortunately I have to share the mic with my two idiot mates. So first off, let's welcome Mr. Brett Perry.
Greetings, Exalted One.
BP.
What a lovely day it looks like outside.
I knew you were going to go this way.
Well, I just wanted to send out a special cheerio to all my friends in Sydney. So hang in there, we're thinking of you, because I'm one of them.
Yeah.
There you go. Well. That's me done.
Yep.
Move on.
I'll get the other bloke.
He had a voice that could make a wolverine purr.
Nick Boss.
So you didn't replace me?
No.
Oh, shit. Where is he?
Last week. So I was all very keen to be replaced, and I could just hand over the bills that keep rolling in, all the money, all the debts that we owe, and just transfer directly.
Well, we'll have to talk about that after the show.
We're not the Murdochs, are we?
Back on track, gents. Variety Club Bash went off without a glitch, and basically great to actually get an event off, which 370-something people travelling around the countryside.
We did give you a bit of a plug last week.
Felt a little bit guilty given the situation that everyone else is in Australia, but the fact it went off was good. And, I have $2 million for the kids.
Yep. We gave that plug for you. We told the world.
Yep.
Honestly, Bicey, we were really worried that you had been lost somewhere. We genuinely were worried.
We were.
Yeah, of course. I saw all the messages come through on my phone. Where are you? You're right. Yeah, sure. No, but we're busy planning the next one. The great David Snowd has some fantastic ideas for the next event, of which, fundraising has started already.
Wow. Congratulations. Good work. Well done.
Yeah, it's good.
All right. Well, you got a good guest this week.
Apparently.
Yep. First time ever.
One of the best.
First time ever. Our ratings are going to go through the roof.
No, we've been pretty keen to chat to this guy for quite a while, but we needed him to prove himself. We needed the next.
We thought the first ones were luck. So we wanted just to make sure.
So we were waiting for the outcome of the Tokyo Olympics, and luckily the man stood tall. Our guest this week is the Australian Sailing Technical Director. He's been in the Olympics several times, including winning a bronze on his own behalf. But he has been the coach of 3 gold medal winning champions. So it's pretty obvious who we've got. Welcome to the show, Michael Blackburn. G'day, mate.
G'day, guys. Thanks for having me.
How are you, mate?
Welcome, Blackers. The 3 gold medals.
To separate skippers.
Chasing Victor down. What is that? The desire?
Yeah. It is the desire. He's had a few goes where he's done 2 at once, so working in single-handers is a little hard to catch up that record, but I've still got a few years left in me, so I'll see what I can do.
Well, that's a good point, yeah. So you have got a few years left in you.
Yeah, although as Jordan said, the new role as a technical director, I'm technically not coaching any specific class now. So now kind of looking after all of them a little bit, but nothing directly.
Oh,
wow.
You've got this in the bag, mate, because you'll be able to claim every medal that's won in the next.
I didn't think of that. That's a good idea.
You'll have Victor by next Olympics.
Yeah, hopefully.
It's going to be an interesting role, that one, because of such a quantum change in the classes going into the next Olympics. There's going to be a lot on your plate going forward, particularly trying to find some kiteboarders and windsurfers as well.
Yeah, we've got a lot of work to do. There's 5 classes changed, as you know, and we've been weak in the kites and the boards for a while now. Last Olympic rep was Jessica Crisp back in 2012.
The great
Jessica Crisp. On the board there, absolutely.
Yep.
And still working with us now, helping to develop the next generation of IQ falling kids around the country. Her, along with Arthur Brett, another recent coach of mine, or a little while ago, along with Slingers. Working with him and our kiteboarding people, and especially in Ryan Polk, to try and bring the next generation along.
Right. Well, don't give any secrets away, mate, because there's more than Australians listening. So just make sure we keep those secrets, right?
speaking of secrets, you've been involved in the laser class in one form or another for obviously a long time. We crossed paths I crossed tacks with you once in the 96 Asia Pacific. So I think it was definitely before the race. It wasn't during the racing. But that's basically, from what my memory, 25 years, like directly involved in the lasers, from sailing to coaching.
Yeah, we started in about 88. I think first going on a laser on Lake Burley Griffin in Canberra, and a really old boat with a wooden centreboard, and then just stuck with it since then. But sort of a few divergence off along the way through 49er or through a few Sydney Hobarts, a few offshore races.
Yeah, I was going to say your best straight. That'll come up later.
And now you've got them all on. Oh, had a little glitch there, but and now they're all under your wing, and does continue the laser. So perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do have a little Wi-Fi issue with multiple people working from home, and the kids streaming movies tends to slow things down a lot here.
No worries. We'll carry that.
All right. Okay. Well, first question, like Bicey's gone down the path. He's opened one thing up. So did you start sailing in Canberra, mate?
Yeah. Basically, we moved to there as a family when I was about 7 or 8 years old, and worked in the through the two sailing clubs there, the CYC and the YMCA. Started sailing a P class, would you believe? A New Zealand boat. Somehow they got a bunch of them in as a junior training class.
Wow.
Spent a lot of time on the lake there in the summer, and went through Manly Juniors, Flying Ants, Toby 14 and NS 14, all sorts of things before settling on the laser and where the most boats were and the most competition was.
What era was that when you were first started?
In the 80s.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. Very, very shifty venue, obviously.
Shifty,
and
no
I
wind.
think, a lot of time with no wind. They go through a very seasonal phase where there's lots of westerlies in the spring and early summer, and then it gets a bit warmer and stiller after a while. But you do learn how to sail some shifts really well.
Yeah.
Well, I was just about to say that a lake seems to produce some pretty talented sailors. So is that a secret recipe?
It could be another, even the likes of Robert Scheidt. He's actually from Sao Paulo, which is inland a long way in Brazil, and grew up on a lake there, and has moved to a lake in the form of Lake Garda in Italy. So there's certain breeding grounds that, you think of Lake Macquarie as well. The access to the water is so much easier in some venues than others, and that allows the kids to get out there and enjoy it much
feel
easier,
comfortable.
more regular.
Yeah, feel comfortable.
Exactly. Yeah. You can get out and touch the bottom. I remember the first time I came to sail in Sydney Harbour, I thought, wow, this is so deep, I can't touch the bottom. It's a bit scary.
And then you went across Bass Strait.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah. Gradually, the skills get better, and you get a little more confident in things, and take on some bigger things.
So before we actually talk about Bass Strait, I just want to go back one step. What happened to you, Jordan? Because you did quite a bit of sailing on the lake as well, right?
Yeah, out of both those clubs.
Your sailing skills haven't exactly gone through the roof.
Oh, yeah.
What happened to you, Jordan?
What happened to me? Yeah, no, I was better at talking myself up than actually doing anything.
Really?
It's a good little venue, the Lake Burley Griffin, because there's a lot of tactical decisions whether you go around that little island half the time. You've got to make that decision, and then the Sharpies again. They were talking about having their nationals there, so there's a lot of people going to discover the joys of the old lake. But windsurfing kicked off when I was there. I did the windsurfing side of things for a bit. But anyway, it's not about us. But you also went to Queensland, didn't you, mate?
Yeah, so I left Canberra and then went up to Brisbane for 3 years to do some more uni there, and it was kind of about then I switched to more full-time sailing in the laser.
Yeah.
Learned to sail in more wind and some waves waves and that sort of stuff. So I kind of had a nice rounding of shifty stuff and then into technical wave-orientated stuff as well.
So that was like you went up there for your first 3 years of university, I assume.
It was I did 7 years at uni, and that was the last 3 years, went into a PhD in sports science. So at the same time, I was kind of training myself to do the physical and mental training and learning about how Olympians did it and how gold medalists succeeded over the long term. So every day putting that sort of information I was getting out of the uni stuff into practice. So I think that had a big impact on my how I developed.
But just rewinding again, just a fraction there, was the Olympics always on the agenda?
Yeah, well, the funny thing was I had aspirations to be, really good at the sport. I love sailing; it's such a great sport. But there wasn't an avenue in because the fin was there for the big boys and the rich boys. But it wasn't until 1993 that the laser got in the games. I think it replaced the FD class, and then I didn't have a lot of money. I had a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of keenness to do well. But then the laser came in. It was an affordable option. So that provided the pathway. And then about the same time, Sydney got the games. So, suddenly it was, I had a major goal to try and work towards.
Did you ever hear from those poor blokes that were trying out for the FD that had a dream as well?
I did not, I'm afraid. Although I was fortunate to have Glenn Burke coaching me in 1996. And he, had the misfortune of not being able to go to the 1980 Olympics because of the political decisions on that.
Yeah. Well, he was going. He did. Was that 96? He trialled in 92 for the Finn, didn't he, Berkey? 92.
Yeah, he went to 92 games in the Finn. Yep.
Yep. Okay. That's right. He was going to do the FD. That's right, wasn't he?
Yeah, exactly. In 1980.
Yeah. Right. Wow. That's right. He was a young lad then, wasn't he? Right. Okay. Go on. Continue on. Sorry, we're just doing the memory thing.
So really, really keen to get to Sydney and started working hard towards that, and I probably improved a little quicker and just beat Adam Bichel in a narrow selection for the 96 games.
That's right.
So went over to Atlanta for that. Finished fourth there behind Ainsley and Shite. And then I was so lucky to be involved in sailing at a high level when those two guys were around. Without them, I'd have a gold and a silver medal. But no hard feelings. They certainly showed, what sort of standard could be reached and what sort of level is possible, and certainly helped push me along a lot and help me even today, when I set the standards for the current laser squad and how they perform each day.
Yeah, just jumping forward then, you see Shy at this current Olympics and is it kind of mind-boggling what he's doing?
Yeah, it is, absolutely. 48 years old.
Just about to ask the same thing, actually.
A couple of kids, 48 years old, and I don't know how his body stays together. It's just incredible. I mean, I've got a cupboard full of like 15 MRIs or X-rays of different injuries I've had along the way from laser sailing, mainly through the back or neck or shoulders falling apart. So his longevity is just incredible.
Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah, and that's you being a PhD in physical movement, isn't it? So
you think I'd know how to look after myself, but sometimes just get a little too enthusiastic and try to make gains that shouldn't be had, I guess.
So maybe does that mean your sailing fitness and training book's no good?
I hope my mum's not listening, but maybe my genetics weren't quite up to it. Maybe I'm not quite as robust as I need to be.
So in your Olympic sailing career, Mike, who were your coaches? You mentioned Berkey. Who took you through all the way through to?
Yeah, it was a variety of people. Probably Mike Fletcher had a big impact on things over time. Yeah, the coach. Certainly, just the way he delivered things as a coach and his technical knowledge. He was a little bored by watching lasers, but he still always had something interesting to say. There was, as I said, Arthur Brett was there for us in 2004. And going into Sydney, we had Eric Stibbe as well as Ian Brown our head coach at the time.
Brownie,
both. So a lot of different influences and got different things out of different people, and I think that was quite beneficial over the long term.
Mm. And did that kind of inspire you to take the path that you've taken? Obviously, what you studied at uni and all those sorts of things helped guide that path, but had you always wanted to be in a coaching role?
It's funny. I did the original course at uni was called Sports Science Coaching, but at the time I never wanted to actually be a coach. I wanted to compete, but it's obviously kind of set me up pretty well over the long term to have that education and a whole lot of racing experience after that. I think there's a turning point in 2004 Athens Olympics. I finished 9th there. And pretty, cut up and disappointed about that. It should have been a lot better, but just wasn't good enough in the lighter winds that turned up on the week we sailed. So at the end of that time, I kind of wanted to do anything to help Australia do well at the Games. And so started working openly and more diligently with slingers and on my own stuff as well. And at that time, I vowed to myself I didn't care really who went to the Games as long as I had the best opportunity to try and win and had the best chance there. So, I think that was a turning point.
So was it part of your plan, Mike, to actually get slingers to follow you across Bass Strait and get rid of them that way? Because you did that in 2005, right?
That's right. Yeah,
in a laser. For the listeners,
the original concept formation for that idea was called a race across the strait, where we would race the young buck in slingers.
Oh, yes.
But Victor got on the phone to him, the story goes, and said, "You will not do this." So just did it solo.
That opens the question that he wasn't worried about you.
Yes, it does.
You were done and dusted, apparently.
Absolutely, yes.
That's hilarious. So it's almost like, because, I mean, that was your sort of time when you if you look at the laser results, I think a third 2003, this is the Worlds, third 2004, and then you win in 2006, and then Slingsby is runner-up to you in 2006. Was that like, and then he wins the next couple. Was that like there was a sense that he was coming, or it's all because of your coaching? Training.
Yeah, interesting. Certainly some of the competitions Slings and I had amongst ourselves in training were, some of the most competitive race sort of sessions we've ever had. Some of the in closeness would at the end of the session would be go running to Arthur and complain about who infringed on what tiny little rule that made the difference in determining the outcome of the race. Obviously he was getting better. His record went from finishing at the Worlds at 93, then 69, then 32, then 7, then 3, then 2, then 1. So, the trajectory was huge, and it obviously stayed up there for a long time after. A sense of him coming, but also a sense that that was a good thing to have the two of us able to fight against each other at the top of the list. So I was dead keen to go to the 2008 Games. Selection panel didn't choose it that way. You could argue the result suggested maybe they were wrong. No grudges. But as soon as I got the phone call that I wasn't getting selected, I said, well, what else can I do for the team? How can I help? And ended up going to coach Sarah Blank, now Sarah Ogilvie, at the Games there. So, that desire to help Australia do well in sailing and contribute where I could just still remained and remains today.
So it's interesting, isn't it? Like it's I don't know, I'm going to say the Australian way, but it's not. There's plenty of other countries where it's the same characteristics, but it is, not all countries are the same, but Australia is one of the countries that has that characteristic, and we benefit from that. I don't think, if we don't have quite the funding of the UK team, and you can see the benefit that provides, they probably have that element as well where they share a bit of info. But that a lot of people come forward in Australia to try and help. Maybe it's ego, maybe it's just, they've got value. But it's did you think it was a career path when you did it?
Yeah, I had that. I was 36 years old at the time and getting towards the end of the realistic laser career. So it was the area I had all my skills developed in and they're ready to be transferred to a new career. So, yeah.
There you go. Simple answer.
And who coached Slingers in 08?
So it was Arthur Brett carried on.
Yeah,
carried on with Slingers. And, he'll admit himself, he wasn't, he had various challenges going into that, dropping the weight, and he needed more light wind skills as well to handle the conditions. So he was world champion going into it. And the next year I put my hand up to coach the guys, and of course knowing Slingers was there, and he was actually still pretty good after finishing 23rd at the games. But the next year we started working together. We went to the ES Regatta and he finished 57th, which was a light wind regatta. But he'd changed by then. He was open-minded, optimistic, ready to do anything or whatever it took to be number one in the world again. And by the European Championships a few months later, in light winds again, he finished second there. So there was some fairly relatively easy things that were tuned up in his performance that could make a difference.
It's interesting discussion, Blackus, because a lot of conversation around coaching, when you talk about coaches, the coaches focus in straight on the sailing technique. But one thing you hear about Victor, and I suspect, and something you just said then, you're focused in on more than just the sailing. You focus in on the person as a whole. Is that your philosophy going in, or was it something you picked up within the Australian team, or or am I just wrong in that assessment?
I think coaches should be conscious of trying to develop people as a whole, not just as an athlete. It just provides a bit more balance to their lives. Some of with these, working with a laser squad of 5 or 6 guys, you'd be conscious that only one of them can go to the games. So what are the others working towards in a way? And there are opportunities in the big boat area, and other tangent career paths in sailing. So we could kind of keep those in mind and work on opportunities with them to open up any of those paths, whether they're going to go to the games or not.
Well, there's perfect examples of that all around, isn't there? You just got to look at Australia. There's lots of guys that were sailing in that sort of crowd with Slingsby that are off doing the big boat stuff. So it puts them in good stead.
Yeah, absolutely. A bunch of guys. If you're especially the right size and got those big arm strength as well, it's so many opportunities.
It seems we've moved to a little bit onto the coaching, but I'd like to ask one thing. What's the highlight of your sailing side of things? The actual highlight, the most standout thing that you remember? Doesn't necessarily have to be a result, but a story.
Oh, it's there's a bit of a mix between finally winning the Worlds on the 10th attempt, because it's a more competitive regatta than the Olympics, because there's 150 boats there rather than 40 or 50, and then the magical things you come up against in sailing from time to time, like it's like the Forrest Gump movie where he's doing the run across America and then he suddenly looks out and there's that magical lake with reflecting the sun and the mountains and stuff like that. When you're in Bass Strait and the sun rises and there's a few dolphins cruising alongside.
So Bass Strait's up there.
yeah, I think so. Just as an experience, a novel experience, but also other times that have been in the big boating and you might have thrown up overnight, but then you wake up in the morning and you're humming along and everything's a lot more beautiful. So there's just so many enjoyable things that come along in the sport that they're very pleasing.
So it must be quite hard because you sort of you've done this PhD, you've done the coaching, you've done the sailing to World Championships. You must be one hell of a. I'm guessing you're good in bed as well, all that sort of stuff.
Gee, Jordy.
No.
We never know where it's going to go with you.
Yes. In my own head, maybe, but probably in reality.
Sorry.
Righto. So
Which
coaching.
now brings us on actually to the, it's been more than 12 years, 13 years, right, of coaching 3 gold medalists.
Yeah. What an amazing effort that is.
Congratulations, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes.
And did you kind of garner all that information that you had received over the preceding 12, 15 years and think of different coaching methods? Is this a path that you took, or you tried to just steal good bits from other coaches or bits that you liked, or you had to deal differently with different people?
I definitely like stealing good bits from other people. Apparently, that's called innovation.
And innovation and IP.
Yes. But I had some great influences in various coaches over the years. But having that, I think there's a lot of cases in sailors doing the transition from athlete to coach, and just having that affinity with the boat and the real core understanding of what it takes to win over the long term makes a big difference and a great grounding for coaches to know what to do with the athletes on a daily, weekly basis.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I hadn't thought about that actually, how you come from the laser and how you're coaching lasers must have to have that relationship with the boat itself is really important.
Yeah, absolutely. Just so many little things, it's hard to list them all, but it just has that connection.
So, I want to come back to this point, BP, so don't let me forget, but I do think we have to ask about the transition between the athletes, because it's not just winning 3 gold, but it's winning 3 gold with 3 different athletes. So I think that's a pretty critical thing. So when you switched across to Tommy Burton and you had, as you said, you had a squad of 5, was it an easy choice to roll into working with Tommy, or was it just because you had the name Tom and that just made it easy? You just yelled out Tom and he stepped forward?
Well, kinda, but Tom came along for the ride with Slingers through a lot of it. I started working with Berto in 2009, just before Slingers actually got back into the boat after his break after 2008. So he was kind of there along the whole period, and the trick with a young Tom Burton and his training partner at the time, James Berman, was to get them to the quality, their training quality, where Slingers would want to work with them, because Slingers is used to a very high standard of training and no mucking around and getting stuff done. So after a little while working with TB and Burmo, Slingers saw that was a good bunch of guys to start training with. So along we all went for a 4-year ride together.
This is actually, before you go back to your original point there, Jordan, good time to introduce Spicey's quiz. So we have Slingers, Burton, Wern. You can just give a single answer if you want, Blackers. Who was the funniest?
Oh, there's... can I do a longer answer? It'd be more interesting. Sure. TB was always the most cut through. He still is always the most direct. Slingers the most passionate, and Werney a bit more straight down the line. So I'd have to give it to TB actually.
TB, 1 point for TB.
1 point.
Grumpiest?
Oh, that's an easy one. Slingers.
I've already put 1 point there for him. We've had him on a couple of times. Get this fucking show on the road, will you? And I'm hardest, as in just takes no prisoners.
Ooh. Each of them would like me to say each of their own, I think, but I'd have to go Slingers again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This one slipped in there, not sure how. Who rings their mum the most?
Oh.
Nice one.
I don't know. I know which mum rings athlete the most.
Better.
It's TB. TB's mum, Lynn. Hi, Lynn. Not sure the other way around.
Actually, TB's mum's about to be a grandma. Congratulations,
Yes.
Lynn.
Yep.
Yes.
Saw that.
Anyway,
And that concludes our quiz. So,
I was enjoying that.
so Wernie, you didn't do
You
much,
failed.
but you still won the gold.
I know why. Because his name's not Tom.
No, I've got a few questions. We'll save them till more after the chat.
Perfect.
All right. So you didn't say how you picked Tom Burton though, because Slingsby, you said you had these tough trainings. Was it just Burton's time, TB's time, or how did it work?
Oh, well, Slingers bowed out and went making a lot of money after 2012. So the contest was there by then was between TB and Wernie.
Yep.
And I guess Wernie basically was still coming up the ranks then, and TB still had the edge.
Yep. Yeah, it was. And, very selfish of Slingers to go and make lots of money. But then that obviously opens up the next question, where you had the situation where TB won the Worlds and then you had Wernie finishing behind him, and you had that tough decision for the last Olympics, which must have been insane. How did that conversation go? How did that decision go? Was it taken out of your hands? Were you a 10% contributor or a 100% contributor? I kind of know the answer, but I thought I'd ask.
The selection process is given to, I get a little political and diplomatic here. Selection process is given to the athletes a fair way out from the first regattas. And in this case, we had 4 regattas that the athletes knew were going to be a part of things, including the Worlds and a couple of events in Japan 2019. And wouldn't you know it, they both finished with a 1, 2, 2 and a 4 across those 4 regattas. But so that, because they both finished very high up, the decision went to a selection panel, and it was obviously a really knife-edge decision, and difficult to choose one or the other, for sure.
Yep. And we remain diplomatic in that answer. I noticed that diplomatic non-answer at the very end there. But
along with Coach Blackers, obviously it's probably quite a big HR role, or what they call people and culture these days, because you'd be dealing with a bit of that as well, correct?
Yeah, I think I know where you're going. It's some very, people who are very keen on achieving their goals, and we have to be respectful of what they want to achieve, and it is a delicate balance when you are working with some really high achievers, and so it should be. Otherwise, we wouldn't get the results we get.
Yep.
So, were there any nervous phone calls after the first few races at the Olympics this time around?
Well, it certainly was nervy. We were driving. We did one race on the first day and driving home in the car with Wernie. Said it was 17th. That's what TB got at the first race in Rio. And we had a little laugh about that. And then he went and got a 28th in the next one. So,
what'd you say? TV didn't get a 28th in the second race.
No. Well,
I'm joking.
It was, it was a challenging couple of days. Wernie held steady really well. I think it's, in those times, we all know we try and put the results aside and get back to the task of trying to get the boat around the course really quickly. So that's what we did.
I've just put 1 point alongside Wernie for resilience.
Yeah.
17-28. You want to fight back? I'll show you a fucking fight back. Here we go.
I'm going to write my own story, dude. I mean, every gold medal is precious. It's no question. Tom Slingsby, and then obviously Tom Burton. This one is the freshest one. It's in our minds. We've watched it. Probably had more coverage than the other ones. I think that added to and obviously the times that we're in where we were watching more of the sailing. But he just seemed to find his straps and just go. He just seemed to have good starts and just sail his way through the fleet. It was good to watch. Yeah,
it's remarkable, and he getting great starts. Absolutely, there was one day in a nice. We were way offshore on the Fujisawa course in about 14 knots or so. And I'd see you get a nice start in the middle of the line, then drive around to the side of the course, and you popped out a boat length or two, and the little bit of boat speed was there for him as well. So and he won both races there that day. And then it's a relative thing. It depends on what other competitors do. And Pavlos had a yellow flag in one race, and then had another error, so that made it look even better for Wernie.
Yep, agreed.
It was crazy in the end though. It must have been so nerve-wracking at the start, and then to actually win it so convincingly at the end. It's just incredible testament to both yourself, to Maddie, to everyone that was involved. There must have been, there's the sports psychology that has gone in, the investment in time, and there's just the confidence to pull that off and then just nail that. That it was genuinely awesome to watch.
I must concur with that. It certainly, to be able to win it with a day to spare was a goal of mine, at least, because it's a lot less stress than going through a race.
So you're saying you train for that? That was your coaching philosophy, Matt. You have to win for the last race.
don't leave anything to chance. Is a nice way to go for sure. Yeah.
What was your post-race tools you had access to? Because you weren't allowed to do any filming or anything on the water. Did you get the footage that we could all watch post-race?
We could take your camera out, but it wasn't as long as it was a simple one. We because we were stuck in the box, obviously behind the course, we couldn't see much. So we could go and watch the tracking, or if they happened to film the course that day, we could watch that back as well. So it's funny coaching the Olympics. Sometimes the guy come back to the boat between races, and you ask them what happened. You just have no idea.
Yeah, sure.
Did you there were a lot of crazy things that happened across the courses. It must have been, from a coaching perspective, you can't know everything, and sometimes you get caught out. The classic was the confusion with Anne-Marie Rindam in their race, and the coach not knowing what the rule was, Anne-Marie not knowing what the rule was. Was that a moment where you just gone, well, hang on, what is that rule? Or are you guys so disciplined across all that sort of stuff?
Probably would have been a bit unsure about the same thing at the time. It's a kind of a 1 in 500 race event, that sort of thing would happen. So, sailing's a complex sport, so we try and get across everything and play these scenarios out in training, but, it's hard to do them all.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to put myself in that situation. I would have just gone, uh-oh.
It was funny. The way it works is there's kind of one way of handling that rule for laser run regattas like World Championships and Europeans, and another way for the World Sailing Run regattas, World Cups and the Olympics.
Right. Wow.
Oh, is that right?
Interesting.
Hey, Blackers, do you have any, either when you're sailing or coaching, any superstitions?
Not really, no, nothing at all.
Don't have any little, what are they called, Kinder Surprise taxis or anything like that?
There was, no, but I don't know if you picked it up on it, but there was a nice little jibe, I think, from Jace Waterhouse that was given to Nina Curtis for her commentary at the games, that Wernie carries a pickle in his life jacket and then he takes a nibble on it during the race to relieve cramps. So we're going to give him a pickle for the last medal race and get him to have a little nibble on it. We couldn't get one.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Hey, actually, before we get off the Olympics bit, did you actually chat to? We got behind Numa Tiariki, the New Guinea sailor. We just took a shine to the young fella and cheered from him hard at home. Did you come across him at all in the boat park, or you were all too separated?
Oh, we ended up separated. It was a kind of unsocial games in some respects. But I certainly followed his progress as a close neighbour.
Yeah, of course. That's a very nice way of saying it. But it must have been. I was talking to Mara about it. Just the psychology of it going in, because she's going to a games where she's going to be spending all her time in a hotel room, not making new friends, not going to any ceremonies, not. It's got to be the worst games to go to in one aspect.
Yeah, it's certainly unusual. I did feel sorry for the games, having been to 7 now, and the experiences you get as part of the show, as part of the side activities from the sailing are really quite special. Whether it's through the ceremonies or indulging in the local culture, or celebrating or commiserating properly at the end. It was all missed by this generation at the last games.
It's crazy.
Definitely.
So after the win, just a bit of Uber Eats, get a 6-pack of Sapporo delivered if you don't mind.
It was a little quiet, yeah. Not traditional Aussie celebration.
Then you had to come and lock back down. That's just when you got home. It must have been. It must have been tough, like really, really, really tough from every aspect because of the stress of the regatta, not the build-up. You haven't been able to do offshore sailing against the other fleets, so you had to create that. Whereas I think you could see all the Northern Europeans clearly sail together. We're doing some training together because they had some pretty good results, particularly in the laser radials. Like I really noticed that everything was out of the north of Europe. But definitely the Europeans had advantage, I think, going into the Olympics. And the Australian team did quite well given the pressures. So I guess you take from that, you've got 3 years to the next Olympics, you've got this new role and 50% of the classes are changing. How do you make it work, mate? It's impossible.
Yeah, we recognise that our developing athletes do need this racing experience, so we'll try and maximise their trips away next year, especially to Europe, of course, where most of the regattas are, but also some world championships at some other destinations. Hopefully, travel will be a whole lot easier by then. We're trying to get some. You're shaking your head. We're trying to get some. We're going to have. We've got a couple of guys in Europe now. We've got young Zach Littlewood over at the under-21 laser championship in Poland. He's leading that by a good chunk at the moment. And
really?
He'll come on to the Laser Europeans in October, and then head to the Worlds in Barcelona in October, November as well, along with a few other of the laser squad. So they're doing what they can to try and regain some of that 20 or so months of lost race experience, and we'll have a lot more of our younger sailors overseas next year to try and get more experience there as well.
Yeah, I guess it's a question I have generally with the 4-year cycle. You've got obviously the Worlds and the test events, but now with the 3-year cycle, have you had to discuss internally and with the different classes how you approach it in the selection process?
Yeah, well, we haven't sorted out selections yet for 24, but we know there's going to be some obvious key target events, including the combined Worlds in The Hague in 23, and some class Worlds the year before, as well as those test events in Marseille. And we're conscious that we need to get to Marseille and learn about that venue a lot. Wernie had a total of 60 or so days in Enoshima before we got back to there this year. So that was a nice to have in the bank, despite having those, another year or so missed.
Is that a lot, or what do you aim for? Is there a magic formula, you think?
Well, TB had about 56 days in Rio, and we were planning for more like sort of 70, 80 in Japan. So, there's that sort of target area. I know the likes of Nick Thompson in Rio did 151 days pre-Rio. So through a lot of trips. So, there's probably a sweet spot about how long you spend in a place.
Carnival was 14 of those.
Yeah. Isn't Marseille no wind and all topless beachgoers?
Oh, don't tell my wife that. But I think it's a venue I haven't been to yet, but some of our team have, and they say it's a bit like the Sound on Sydney Harbour potentially, with some mixed up choppy water and some cliffs and bigger land around each side. So I think it will be quite a variable and a place where people can race really well.
Okay, yeah, well, it can be absolutely cranking with a Mistral.
Yeah, Mistral. I was just going to say, yeah, that's right.
It is the start of the Mistral throughout the entire higher meta training. So it can turn it on.
Yeah. So the big question, and I'm not sure if this I haven't followed, but is Victor going around again?
He can't keep him out of a boat these days.
No,
He's
right.
very excited to do what he can to help the team for sure.
Oh, great. So does that mean with this mixed arrangement with the 470 then, has there been discussion? Like, has this all been planned?
Which bit do you mean?
Well, who the crews are going to be?
Oh, well, yeah, we're in, there's a few crews who already gotten together already. And then, the Matt Belcher is having a break. Will is off in Europe at the moment, and Matt's at home with the family. So we need more people in the 470s to come through, and we have what we call a Futures program, where the younger generation, we're providing some coaching to them, and even the likes of Matt is volunteered to help out with that sort of thing to give back to our classes coming up. We've got a lot of development work to do through the new to get new blood up to speed over the long term, and we may not do as well in Paris as we did in Tokyo because of these changes and because we're having some of the old guard move on. But we'll certainly look to build up more towards LA, and certainly the having the home Olympics in Brizzy will provide a lot of inspiration for the younger teenagers now to come through over time.
So I've got this visual image of the mixed 470. Somebody's going to turn up with a 42 kilogram skipper and a 100 kilogram crew, or a 90 kilogram crew. It's going to be 6'6". One of the Finn guys is going to pop up on the water. That's what I reckon is going to happen.
And top of the mast falls off.
Pop more than up. Yeah, pop the rig out the boat.
Wait till you see the pumping.
Certainly a few Finn guys available now, so it might be a good idea.
It could work.
That's Jordan. He's the ideas man.
But I just wonder if that arrangement will happen. Just how you get a tiny little skipper, and then just you'll be able to concentrate your weight all in the critical element. Of course, it'd probably be boring as hell for a Finn sailor downwind with that tiny little kite on a 470. Like you'll probably blow his nose on it without realising it's not a spinnaker. But the other one we threw out, BP and I had a hypothetical last week, Blackers, where we wondered if the Olympics have missed the boat. So the reason, and what we're talking about here is the kite foiling. So sort of the quasi headquarters of the world of kite foiling is Chrissy Field in San Francisco. That's where a lot of the champion sailors come from, and they do a lot of it. But some of the videos I've been getting the last few weeks is they've all gone to wing foiling. Have you seen any of that?
I haven't. I knew it was the kind of the spiritual home of the kites, but I must admit I'm a wing foiling fan myself, having a bit of gear and having done a few goes on it. If I had my way, this isn't not a view of Australian sailing, I would cancel the 2 foiling classes and put wing foiling in there instead.
There you go. You heard it first. Black as the doors is opening back up for you.
It could be, my new career, maybe.
Well, Robbie called it about a year and a half ago, didn't he?
Yeah.
He did.
This is going to take over the world.
And the IQ foiling world champs were last week. I watched a bit of that online when my wife was snoring. So, and I do wonder if trying to be cool and hip, the cool and hip thing's already moved past where the IOC have thought it would be. That's
already out of fashion.
It's already out of fashion. That's right. Yeah, and I wonder if we actually would be better off with the wing foilers in already, because I mean it's only new, but everyone's rolling into that. And as Bicey just said, Robbie Nash forecasted a year and a half ago.
Imagine it in Marseille though.
Yeah.
Big mystery out. No racing today. We're going on a downwinder. First one to Sardinia wins. The new offshore race as well.
The new offshore race. offshore singles.
Hey, Blackers, do you have a favourite coach boat?
Oh.
We tend to just have the single type, the VSR 5.8. But it's
is Pagey still the agent for those?
No. I think you finished with that a while ago. We have
you haven't got the sold house boats yet?
No, I thought you were going to ask that. TB did hit me up the other day saying, have you tried one of these yet? I need to pop in there and see how they look and feel. Yeah,
good quick shout out to Greg Soldhouse and his team.
Yep.
For
Are you an agent for
well,
them
what
now,
did you
boss?
say? What did you say? You copy from the best, and that's called
Innovation.
Innovation.
So with their innovative new coach boat.
Oh, dear. Too much stupidity, I tell you. So what do you reckon, I know you're an occasional listener of the show. I don't know how often you listen, but we did propose an idea for the Olympics in France when there was still the chance of the double-handed offshore boat where the race starts as the cauldron is lit and it finishes as the cauldron is doused.
Wow.
Have you...
Weeks non-stop.
Yeah, the whole Olympics non-stop. How do you reckon that would fly? Do you like that as an idea? As personally, nothing to do with your roles, it's just hypothetical.
What boats would they use?
Laser.
Okay, now you got me.
You're allowed to take a packed lunch and a bottle of water.
Wow.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense now.
You're a shoe-in, mate, with your Bass Strait crossing. You know, you're used to the time. You're a shoe-in.
Yeah, it has an appeal. I mean, the format's something they've tried to work with a lot in sailing over the years, and kind of had these trials at it, but nothing's changed all that much. Having said that, I don't mind the 10 races. It's a sport of consistency.
Yeah.
Just having one little dash for cash like they do, say, in the Sail GP final race, that just doesn't make sense given that there's always a bit of luck involved in the outcomes.
Yeah, no, I'm very much about our sport is mastery of all conditions, and that's the whole purpose. We sail over a week so we can show mastery of all conditions. That's essentially the gist of it, unless of course you get the same conditions every day. So I do get frustrated with that element of the Sail GP. I suspect we'll be able to ask that question in a week or so, BP.
I guess so.
Yeah.
It'll be on the run sheet, so.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
So for your personal sailing, mate, now we've talked all about coaching, all about that side of things, and also your personal elements. Are you going to be able to do more sailing, or are you going to be able to do less sailing currently?
With the new job, I'll kind of do the same amount of sailing, which amounted to a couple of wing foiling sessions a week.
Right.
But now I'll switch between classes, and I'll have that overview of all the classes, jump in the coach boats with the other coaches, and kind of assess the technical needs across the whole group and see what I can add to each group class by itself.
All glory, no responsibility with that role, isn't it?
The job description says the opposite, but I'll see what I can get away with.
I just want to make an amendment to the job description.
Yeah, it's all about me.
Actually, who do you have to make happy? Who is it? A committee, or is it just Ian Murray, or who is it?
I'd like to think we have to make the taxpayers of Australia happy, because that's where most of our funding comes from. But certainly as a team, we do want to inspire the people to be involved in the sport and get have good outcomes out of it, just as you guys want to as well.
Nice answer. That's probably the best answer anyone's ever given on this show, mate.
Oh, just up there. Up there. I'll tell you one thing that I was very impressed with, and I think you'd probably be the same, is Team GBR. They really put in really solid effort. And is there any sort of way that you're sort of looking at their model, or is it sort of our own different style?
Yeah, it's interesting. They were funded to the tune of $42 million, I think, per year, which outspends us by
41 million.
Yeah, pretty close. So their ability to fund the really deep programs, lots of numbers in coming through and through all the development is going to exceed ours for a long, long time. So we have to be, pretty targeted in where we spend our money and be a lot more efficient than they probably can. But having said that, we try and innovate where we can, and that involves keeping an eye on the competition and seeing what they get up to and how they run their programs.
I mean, that's a massive budget. I mean, where is the money spent? I know it's expensive sport, but that's 42 million a year. You're saying that would be. I'm just trying to work out where that all goes.
Yeah, me too. I think it's just about the sheer numbers they have in their books. They do populate all the classes, so we haven't done the SAR borders to the same extent.
Yeah.
They can a few more support staff, a few more athletes, a bit more travel, and
fair enough. Yeah,
might cover it.
I suppose it does add up. We know that.
I could, if you gave me 42 mil, mate, I guarantee I could spend it.
Do you reckon? Really?
Oh, and yeah,
Give it a go.
you'd probably go all right.
You'd give it a crack, wouldn't you? Talk about giving it a crack. I'm just looking at this run sheet here, Jordan, and we have sort of touched on it a couple of times. The Bass Strait crossing, Blackers. Just a quick one. 9th of March 2005, in record time for sailing. 13 hours and 1 minute. How many ladies have done it?
That's part of the marketing for the DVD.
In record time. Watch Blackers cross Bass Strait.
Yeah, so tell the whole setup, mate. All your like the support, where you left from, where you ended up. Talk us through that a little bit.
Yeah, sure. So we've kind of got the map out and look what's the shortest distance to get it done, but it's still qualify for it. And there's a place called the Stanley in northwest in Tassie, nice little town.
Yep, lovely town.
Yeah, lots of fresh air there. And then the Wilson's Promontory on the other side that sticks out into the Bass Strait a little bit. And typically, as you know, the southwest fronts come through and it blows the direction where you take off from Tassie and you're going downwind to Victoria. And the angle works out really well for reaching at a good speed. So worked out what average sort of speed a laser can maintain on a reach, a healthy 8.6 knots. So that worked out to the sort of 13-hour range. But then, the challenges, should I have a support boat? Could we film it to kind of share the experience with other people? And luckily, a guy called Wes Aston is a cameraman who also sailed a laser at the Middle Harbour Amateur Club here in Sydney. He said, I'm coming with you, and he sorted out the video side of things. And Arthur Brett phoned up Tim Phillips at the Wooden Boat Shop in Sorrento, and Tim also volunteered his boat and his time to come across as a support boat. So popped the laser on the back of his lovely new wooden boat, and we motored across one calm day. Just as we got to Tassie, a front came through at 30 knots.
Time to go.
Yeah, we waited that out a couple of days. We had Roger Badham Clouds giving us some tips on the weather front. And then, once it calmed down to a nice wind strength, walked out of the house at about 3 a.m. in the morning, down to the boat, rigged it up and pushed off into the water.
I remember it clear as day. I mean, I was stoked. I loved it. I thought it was super cool. All then.
So the challenge...
Excuse my lack of research here, but how does that weigh up against Maloney on his windsurfer, or MJ kiting, or a few of the other solo attempts in small vessels?
Yeah, I did. So Nick Maloney did it before me in the board. He went the other way, and he had quite a challenge at the end of it when the wind shifted around the wrong direction, and that elongated his journey a lot. And then a few years later, the kites obviously beat my time by a hell of a lot. But yeah, I was been a interested watcher of people in small boats who have crossed Bass Strait apart from Bass and Flinders to the more later people in canoes and kayaks and all sorts of other craft.
Yeah, it's quite a popular
adventure.
What we don't hear about it. Quite
I've got one for you,
journey for sure.
I've got one for you, Blackers.
What's your plan, mate? What's your plan?
I'm a thinker. So you could be you've got the record for the laser. You could turn around and be the wing foil,
Wing dinger.
the wing dinger across the straight. And would that make you the first person on different craft to hold the record?
Oh,
It's worth a try. I've actually had a guy called James Casey here in Sydney who's very skilled on the wing ding and all sorts of water sports. Wants to rang me up and said, how should I do this and how do I get it done? So I gave him some tips. Too dangerous.
Start in Queensland.
Meanwhile, you're
just for a bit of practice on the way.
Someone's going to do it one day for sure. Probably won't be me, but it'll happen.
Stay tuned, world. Listen, watch this space.
No,
very cool.
Feat. Absolutely.
Cool. It's some good stories, Blackers. Like you've got a lot ahead of you. That's for damn sure. But the one thing about is if you look back in the past, you've done some amazing things. So it must be. I mean, does your wife talk to you about just settling down a little bit and stop showing off?
I get that vibe sometimes. Certainly get a strong, grounding when you get home and time to look after the kids again.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds familiar. We had that topic last week. Clean the garage, do the gardening. With John Borderecht. So
yeah, that's it.
No, I'm just lucky to do something I love, and it's not really work. It's just working with some great young people who are keen to do the best they can at what they do.
Yeah, that's the amazing part, working with talent and inspirational people. It's inspiring for yourself.
I sort of got one final question because we're sort of over time a little tiny bit, but if you are a youngster coming through and you want to shine out, and the Olympics is your pathway, what's the best thing they can do, do you reckon? They're getting into sailing and they're just starting to get competitive. Is it just sail more? Is it get yourself known? What do you reckon?
Just got to love every day you're out there, and if you really, really want to do well, and in this respect, I'll be talking to just a few young kids rather than all of them, but you got to put all your time and all your effort and all your money into it and go all in. And that's something Slingers did early on. He said, no uni, no school for me. I'm just going to go all in and make this work. And there was no backstop. And he did it, obviously.
Wow. That's pretty gutsy.
This is probably one not for the young kids, but basically bite off more than you can chew and chew
like.
And you're going to get there in one way or another, right?
That's it.
Some of them will.
The other thing, I guess, Michael, which you forgot to say, is that you probably should buy a copy of Sailing Fitness and Training by world champion sailor and coach Michael Blackburn, PhD.
Michael Blackburn.
Yeah. 3-time Olympic gold medal coach.
There's a new print coming out.
Hashtag.
Blow my own horn.
I love it. That's the sort of stuff we want. So, that
fantastic.
No, actually, I will genuinely, I do want to say on that piece, having physically destroyed my body for sailing too long on trapeze, definitely, if you're young into it, understand the way to prevent, do the muscle stretches, do the preparation work. So, if you haven't looked at Mike's book, I'd suggest you do, genuinely, not just because he's on the show, because it'll give you longevity and then you'll be able to do other things when you get older. Unlike myself, he's pretty bad these days. So, there you go.
All right.
There you go.
I'll get it then.
That was a bit heavy, wasn't it? Heavy way to finish. Blackers had a great bloody comment. We were all laughing, and then I put that heavy thing on. So apologies for bringing it all down at the end. Hey,
Actually, just while we're on that though, where can they find it, Blackers?
Amazon.com.au. But you're right, it is a sport for life. So, you can still be competing at the Olympics in your 50s. As people
that's proven.
Demonstrate all the time, look after it and you'll get a lot of miles out of your body.
Not if you're over 80 kilos.
Because you can't go to the Olympics.
Yeah, because you can't get there.
Yeah, well,
I saw in the IQ foil worlds you mentioned, the Dutch guy was 105 or something. That's what the commentator said.
Wow.
So, yeah.
All the Finn guys are
6
across.
foot something.
I love it. Yeah, okay.
there's chance yet, Jay. Don't give up, son.
I gave up.
We'll get you to the Olympics one way or the other.
All right, mate. I think
Good on
we'll
you.
call it there. We're just getting ridiculous now.
That's when it gets good.
Yeah, but if you feel like ever coming on board and giving us some updates about anything, we'd be happy to take. We'd be happy to share some info or just sort of see where things are going. But always welcome on the show, mate, to share a bit of the news. But thanks for joining us. It's been a ton of fun.
Great. Thanks for having me, guys.
Great, Blackers. Thanks,
Good on
mate.
you, mate. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
That was very interesting for me, boys. Clearly a man who likes to achieve. He knows how to focus. He was a little cautious around us, obviously, but he did let his guard down a tiny bit. It was fun.
Yeah, a little bit.
We always do.
What I'd like to say, well-measured high achiever.
Yeah.
Well, very much so, but that's why he's done what he's done. But we always do say that we should record after we stop recording.
Yeah.
But the listeners, it loosens up and it goes good. But anyway, he has got some words to say, and he's achieved what he's achieved because he's so focused, and that's what we love about him.
Hey, obviously Australian sailing team's gone well. Mm-hmm. We're all pretty proud of them, not only in the last games but previous games prior to Tokyo. With the change of the guard, you've got to feel pretty safe still.
Oh, what, with Blackers stepping up into that
No,
role?
well, with Blackers stepping into the role that's going to be there, does this mean we're going to step it up a notch? It felt like that.
Well, I don't know. Like, I think the Australian sailing is being well run because not only with the coach but also the management, like the board, you know, because they're very determined to try and drive the numbers of people coming sailing. Like, so they are, you know, Alistair Murray says all the time, from the base, we want to build our base. And we, as Black has said, we don't have the money, but we've got the energy, I think, is what comes across. And I'm with you. We might go through little sort of waffles up and down, but we're never going to be completely wiped out, I don't think. We've got plenty of talent coming into the sport, got great coaches, we've got great support. And Australians love going sailing, and we've got the right environment.
Taking nothing away from any of the other nations, and especially those that are listening outside of Australia.
Yeah.
But we only have this 3-year cycle now.
Yep.
And everyone needs to be adaptable.
Yep.
And I feel as though with the team that Blackers can put together, we're in as good a chance as we can be as we have been previously. So
I think the toughest challenge they've got is these new formats, the new classes.
I've got a solution, BP.
Good, love it. What is it?
So when they light the cauldron,
and they're going to race.
Grab a piece of A4. Grab an A4 piece of paper.
And they're going to drink bar karate sailor's lager. The merchandise pack is on the way.
I forgot to tell Blackers the merchandise.
Yeah, the merchandise pack. I think I'm going to buy an IQ foiler and just solve one of those problems.
Okay.
What? Throw the rig away and get a wingding.
Yeah, get a wingding. Yeah.
I'm pretty serious about that. I think the wingding's going. And I'll tell you what, you know who's number one in Australia at wingdings at the moment?
No.
One, Tom Spithill. Hey?
Is he?
He is all over Facebook on the wingding.
I don't think he's the best.
Ever seen a dog rooting a cricket ball?
Oh, I love to hear Tommy Spithill. Keep sending that footage. It's making me feel good while I'm stuck here in my house.
One thing I reckon we should do when we can freely circulate, and maybe it'll be a Hobart one year, boys, is I reckon we should just grab Blackers and take him out and have a night out with him and just see how much fun we can have to corrupt the young fella. I'm sure he'll be up for it.
Yeah, pretty sure.
Now again, we've stopped with the Secret Pro thing because it was a waste of everyone's time. But Secret Pro continue to give us information, which is fine. We're happy with that. But what we're doing is promoting events, and we've got the ultimate event to promote here. So Sean Wagner, who is he's got a little brewery in the US, Plankona Brewing. In I think he's
Give it a bit more East Coast accent.
Oh, is it? You do it then.
Plankona Brewing.
Anyway, good plug for him. He's a big fan of the show. He reaches out to us a lot. And as soon as we mention the events, he said 24 to 26 September, coming up, the North American Women's Sunfish Championships in South Carolina. And his brewery group is headline sponsor for the event. So
what is the brewery again?
It's the Plankona Brewing.
Yeah, Plankona Brewing, mate.
That was a bit Aussie.
But this fills all the requirements. It's women, so that's great. We're mad for promoting females. South Carolina in something called a sunfish, which I think is a particularly American, really, it's sort of like a crappy version of the laser. Is that? I don't know. I've never seen one live.
Isn't it the most successful boat in the world?
Didn't
that come up in a conversation last week or a couple of weeks ago?
Okay. I thought sunfishes were the things that everyone ran into when we're doing the Hobart. So
that's the Sunfish Union.
Yeah. I'm intrigued what they're going to be selling.
It's kind of a laser with the the boom is the mast and the mast is the boom type thing. It's really weird.
It's weird,
but it's cool
and cheap.
No, they have colourful sails though.
Colourful sails.
Well, then that's all right then.
Yeah. But anyway, to anyone that wants to enter, get one. I'm sure they're lying around in yards everywhere. And go down to South Carolina. Make sure you mask up and then have a good time and enjoy some brews. So that's an event coming up. Happy?
Yep.
There we go.
Yep.
See how easy it is, listeners? Send in your events and we'll talk about it. It's not hard.
That's cool. Listener of the week, BP.
Listener of the week. Oh, well, this one will actually excite you, Jay. I got an email the other day from our listener of the week, and I'll read the email out quickly, and then I'll tell you who it is. So basically, I was listening to the latest BK episode, and it occurred to me that for the Olympics to stay relevant and gender equal, they should align better with the top end of the sport. There we go. That's a pretty down the line remark. Imagine a mixed team of 4 crew on the 69 Fs.
Yeah.
Like it.
Yeah.
Go for it, rather than a mixed 470, which just seems like a halfway step.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got no problem with that.
This seems right at all levels, particularly for TV. Cheers, mate. That's my 2 bobs worth. Listener of the week. Your kind regards, John Bacon.
Oh.
So, John, I've nominated you for Listener of the Week for that.
Nice.
And, I think it's relevant. We've brought it up before. We did say the 69 F should have been thought about. And I still think it's a valid topic.
Good on you, John. Knowing John, he'll probably be buying one.
Yeah, I was going to say he needs to buy 39 and donate a couple to every country that should be part of the Olympics.
Oh, well, I think he does enough for Australian sailing. That
no,
he
certainly
does.
does.
Bucket.
But on the whole Olympics thing, I must admit, I've changed my view a little bit on everything in the Olympics.
Where are you going?
Just the whole accessibility, the bringing new kids and new people into the sport, making it TV friendly. I see where that's going. So the whole wingding conversation, I 100% agree there.
Right.
But as for bringing in boats which are super expensive, super inaccessible, that is a hard one to follow.
It is. I totally get you on that one.
The high performance bowl, mate, that's where this little conflict is now. How do you get high performance but keeping the cost low?
It's practically impossible unless you're on a board or a kite, right?
I've had a genius idea. Literally.
Here we go. Hey, Nick, just sit down, mate.
Right. So,
hang on, I'm winding down my stand-up desk.
Yeah. Okay. So we've got to have equal participation, male, female, right?
Yeah.
So we have model yacht racing, right?
Oh, twiddlers, yeah.
Twiddlers. So you get your twiddler. We pick a class. Every boat's identical, right? So no development costs, nothing. And you can pick if the female or the male sails, right? And then the other one goes into the boxing ring to sort the rule discussions out.
Hey, just quietly. I think
I love
someone's
it.
already started on this.
Is that right?
Yep. One Russell Coots.
What?
Oh, is he?
As we've seen, Sale GP, they're reducing crew numbers, reducing. Soon enough, it'll be the Twiddlers controlling them.
Yeah.
Not only one in there. Jimmy Spithill has been in the ring for quite some time now. He's getting ready for the next Olympics.
Well, that's what I reckon. Like combinations of sports. This is that was the gist of my idea.
Just a crossover.
Yeah,
Bit of Greco
Multi-sport in the true sense of the form.
Greco wrestling with 470s.
Yeah. You just multiple.
Do you have
sports.
to wear the costumes of both sports? I mean, do you have to wear the Greco wrestling sport while you're sailing?
No one wants Greco-Roman wrestling, mate. Let's just forget that one. Bit of a punch on is what we want. That's all.
Bit of a punch on.
We
could do a banter. The gold medalists banters.
Let's just set the template as rugby league in the 70s. Or ice hockey for the Americans. We'll just set the template as ice hockey.
Yeah. Well, if we're going to do that, we might as well just do the whole lot. AFL of the 70s, rugby league of the 70s. That's the rules.
That's it. All right. The other thing I was thinking, boys, we do get people reach out suggesting people we should talk to. I want to put a call out. So for people, what we want to do is try and build up a list, right? So if you've got someone you want to hear from, send them in and we'll build a list and then we'll get everyone to vote on who they want first. Like we'll try and put them in order. So I was just thinking if we could have a random guest that listeners decide is what I'm trying to work out. So this show's not supposed to be about us. It's supposed to be about our listeners. So we want the listeners to sort of have a little more input. We'd love you're more than welcome to send some audio to us and we'll play it. We're absolutely keen to hear anything. It's not about us. But yeah, if the listeners want to send something in and we get inundated, we'll get a list together and get people to vote the order or who they want. And if we only get a few, then we'll just get those people.
But
Tell you what, guys,
that can be any topic.
I'll set up another board. It's just next to the best off the beach class.
Oh yeah,
board that I've got set up.
Is that?
How's that going?
No, it's going very well. We're almost through the first round.
Great.
Basically, it's going to come down to 505 v Sharpie.
Both great boats.
Sharpies.
What about our book? How's that going?
Our book,
The coffee table book.
Coffee table book.
Unfortunately, our major sponsor got a little insulted.
That was 2 years ago.
By one Brett Perry.
That was 2 years ago, and he's painted the deck since then. So I said to him, "It's okay now. I can come in."
So we're back on track. We're back on track.
Good.
Yeah, feeling good.
Good.
All right.
That won't be far away.
Round the world of
But
footers after we won the lottery.
gentlemen, this is something we haven't spoken about previously.
What's that?
Well, really, we kind of spoke about it, but didn't really give it the full ups. But first, before mentioning the hoodies, very successful. Thank you to everyone that has purchased. We literally only have a couple left. We're all out of XLs, got a couple of Ls, a few Ms, I think, and a few, and
one or two
maybe
smalls.
a double XL, which I may or may not have promised one Peter Strangways yesterday to deliver one to him.
May or may have not. Was it a big day yesterday? Was it?
No.
So they're just about out, basically.
Basically, yeah, just about out.
For the listeners, just so you know, like, not my wife, she gets cold easily, and that's why we live in tropical paradise. But when she gets cold, and she just wanders around the house, literally going, "I love this hoodie so much," genuinely loves the hoodie, and she sings it. So if she heard that, she's laughing now. She sings it. So if you want a nice warm hoodie, you better get onto it because and you've got to go through the merchandise link on the website. If you send it to us any other way, we'll forget about it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So this week, gents, we're adding a couple more items to the merchandise.
What?
We have 2 new T-shirts adding to the range.
Whoa.
We've got our we've pretty much followed the Bar Karate Sailors Lager branding style for our new white tee.
Yep.
We've got the Kraken on the back.
Kraken
with some new colours. So basically our branding is no branding.
Yep.
As long as it just says Bar Karate, we're all good. And then the other one is we've got this actually a really nice, fine, this quality T-shirt is a bloody beauty.
Yeah.
Bar Karate, we'll call it the retro Star Wars Bar Karate T-shirt.
Yeah.
That'll all be online coming up this week. We've only got limited. This is a limited edition run, so get in quick.
Yep.
Once you listen to this, check out the merchandise page on the website and get your orders in. We deliberately don't reprint. Like, if we figure if you want it, you're going to order it, and if it's not there, it's gone. So if you want them, you got to get onto them. Okay.
Yeah. And they're cool. So you're saying that tee for the Star Warsy, let's not say Star Wars because we'll get done by Disney. That sort of space from the space movie from the 70s style
from
print.
Far away.
Yeah. Super quality tee. The white's, same as the other tees, which are pretty good.
Yep.
So
absolutely.
There'll be a slight price difference because
it's going to be $35 for the, let's call it the Kraken tee.
Yep.
Australian dollars, international listeners.
$40 for the Galaxy Far Away tee.
Yeah, Australian dollars. So
Australian dollars.
For most of you people in the world, that's about 5 cents each.
Yeah, so you'll be losing money not buying them, basically.
Can't afford
and
not to
if you
buy
want a
them.
signed edition or not, basically my texter has gone through the envelope and printed on the back of how I've sent it.
Oh, you idiot.
Texter. Your Sharpie. Your texter.
So that'll be a bit of fun for everyone. Some cool stuff.
So, the sweatshot's on. Yeah.
Just go to barkarate.com, and go to the merchandise page. If you've got a can of beer, you can scan the QR code on the back of the can. It'll take you straight there because we're clever like that.
What? To the merchandise page?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Didn't you know
How
that?
cool.
BP?
Hey, has there been any sailing on?
Yes, we will.
Yeah, sorry. We're a sailing podcast. So.
I want to talk about the one I'm sort of fired up about this week, starting 31st of August, although the pre-world's basically starting tonight, I think. The Moth Worlds.
Yep.
Oh.
Lake Garda.
Stacked lineup.
Lake Garda. So anyone, we've all sailed on Lake Garda, haven't we?
No, I haven't, no.
Okay. Pretty much a one-way track. So there's two winds. For those who don't know, it's basically faces north-south. Cliffs effectively on each side, but and then you've got a northerly blows in the morning, and it's thermal breeze. You get a northerly, the Pele, and the Aura, which blows in the afternoon, comes from the south and blows to the north. So it blows up and down, and it gets pretty windy, and it's pretty cool. Have you got? It's kind of cool, exciting.
Yep. It is
One-way track. Well, that'll suit slings then.
Oh, it's exactly what I was thinking.
It'll suit the production company as well.
You want to have your speed on. So obviously the Moth Dinghy is kind of like the great, like if you look back at world champs, so Slingsby's the last world champ, Goodison before that 3 times in a row. Thank you very much. Peter Burling, Nathan Outridge, Bora Galari, Josh McKnight got in there, Nathan Outridge, Simon Payne, Bora Galari, Johnny Harris, Rowan Veal. So that's sort of the modern history, Simon Payne in there as well. The list of entries is insane, boys.
Yep. It certainly is. Many a country well represented, including Australia, and I noticed the Germans are up there. Germans, French.
Yeah, there's a big German.
I love their sailing.
For sure.
Quite a few.
And of course, the
Austrians.
Italians. One thing which I'm a little surprised of the Kiwis, we've got 3 Kiwis there, including one Phil Robertson. I must admit, I didn't expect him to have a Kiwi flag against his name since last time we interviewed him. I thought it could have been Uzbekistan or something like that. But
Just looking at this. Sorry, go on.
But I was expecting maybe some of the Team New Zealand guys in there. Let's face it, with the boys from Tokyo, but didn't see them there.
We've got quite a few
Pete and
names
Blair.
too.
But in saying that, it is a stacked fleet, including one of the veterans of the fleet, Brad Funk
Yes.
from the US.
Yes.
Yeah.
Brad Funk.
It's just such a cool name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a pretty cool guy too.
I'm just looking at this list you sent here, Jay. And it's got, obviously, it's a huge entry.
Huge list. Yeah.
Kyle Langford and Jason Waterhouse, can you please pay your fees?
Pay your entry fee. And I love Nina
amongst others. You're not the only one.
Nina Curtis sailing the gold member. What a great name.
Yeah. Nina, good on her. She's been out there doing a fair bit of stuff, so she's having a good time.
Yeah, but basically, I'm not sure what they're doing from a coverage perspective, but we'll be tuning in if we can, and if we do find out what they're doing, we'll put a link up for it. But the talent right across all the countries runs deep. Like the list is just insane. So it's going to be great fun watching, particularly on the lake. And as was it BP say that? Slingsby, you know, the off the line and gone sort of thing.
Yeah.
Whoever's got that worked out.
And might be time for a hashtag, Jordan. Belgium, is it really a country? They've got one entrant.
It's fake.
Who they got?
It's fake.
They've got...
Morgan Good.
I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce it.
Oh, come on, give it a crack.
Morgan Good.
Morgan Good.
Yep. Right. Well, so anyway,
Cool.
Make sure you're watching.
Well, we've kind of taught this up for quite some time. It is one of the bigger events that we've seen and good for everyone who can get there. Obviously, understanding not all can get there, but for those that are there, kick ass.
Have a great time.
Yep. Certainly got some bragging rights if you win that one. Speaking of bragging rights, TP52s, we've been racing all week. Geez, that was tight racing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Always is.
What was it? Top 5 within 6 points?
Top 6.
Or something like top 6 in 6 points.
Yeah.
It probably one of my favourite racing circuits, without a doubt. And just seeing how close they are and how refined the boats have become is just phenomenal. I mean, you're really at the top of that triangle for sure. Sled took it out with only 1 point to Quantum, but pretty tight racing. I think Sled, the only team to have won 2 races throughout the regatta. And it's fair to say they had a pretty good crew.
Not bad. Not bad.
So do most of the teams, let's face it, they're all there.
What was it? Josh Jr., Murray Jones, Adam Bischel, Jeremy Lomas. I mean, who else do I see on the picture there? We got quite a few of some of the boys that have been hanging around this circuit for a long, long time. And they finally found out themselves at the pointy end, of which is fair to say at the end of last season, they were right at the pointy end as well. So they've kind of rolled in very nicely.
Last season being a year and a bit ago.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. But good to see them up and racing again.
Yeah.
Unfortunate for some of the owners and some of the different crews from different areas who couldn't make it. The other thing worth mentioning is it's the 20th anniversary of the TP52, of which they kind of ran a bit side by side with the event and IRC regatta, of which was taken out by Bojes, skippered in this instance by a good friend, Kenny Reid.
Yeah.
Oh, was he? Very good. There you go.
So,
Learn something new on this show every week, don't you?
I'm just making this stuff up. But,
That's what I mean.
Do not research.
Very cool. What else?
Great circuit, and hopefully this is what we see in the future. Pretty hard to see that currently where we're sitting, but keep it going. Keep pushing.
Keep the pressure on.
Last thing on my list is, of course, just to remind everyone, next Sail GP is going to be in Saint-Tropez. Woo. Yes.
St. Tropez.
Yeah, St. Tropez.
Saint Tropez.
Yeah. On the 11th and 12th of September. So not too far away. So just thought I'd mention that because it's been great watching. Rumours are they're going to have another couple of teams coming in. Have you heard this?
No, negative. Do tell.
I've heard rumour of another team and maybe a 10th, and that's it. They're only going to allow 10 teams in. So, and now if you want to... They're very smart in the way they're trying to put it together. We might have to get Russell Coots onto the show at some stage to ask how it is because you've got to buy
Love to get Russell on the show. Love to get Russell on the show.
We should try that one day.
We'll give it a go.
But yeah, Saint-Tropez, little villa on the
A little villa
on the
little
south
villa
end
on
of France.
somewhere near Monac. What was it? Monac. How do you bloody say that?
Anyway, yeah,
I can't remember.
Put it this way.
Somewhere near Nice.
Yeah, that's it. Near Nice. It's a place we wouldn't be allowed into.
Yeah, no, we've been there. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, been there. But the Sail GP event is, what's that, a couple of weeks before the Laval Saint-Tropez. So it's all happening in that part of the world within the next few weeks.
Some boat shows then too. So it'll all start to happen down around there.
Pumping up.
So,
Good one.
yeah, that's it from me, boys. Anything else from the rest of you guys?
No, just to all our Sydneyites out there, keep your head up. Keep doing what you're doing.
Crazy.
We'll be right. We'll get there.
Crazy. To Blackers, thanks for joining the show. Great fun.
Yes, thank you.
Catch up. To the listeners, thanks for listening. We love your support. If you feel like it, more than welcome to go on to the socials and give us a review. It does help. If you want, we don't ask often, but if you do, it does actually help people find the show, which is good. Unless you don't want people to find the show, and you want to protect it and keep it secret, because then you can be one of the cool
Kind
kids.
of what we do.
Yeah, and jump onto the merch page if you want, because it will sell out. We're not going to be shy about saying that. We know it'll sell out. And we keep the prices pretty low to make sure. So the prices you hear, you need to add postage on top as well. That's about it. Anything from me?
All good.
All good.
Right.
Thanks.
Thank you, gents. Thanks, Blackers. Enjoy. Bye, Karadians.
See you later.
Go BP.